The city's gray chill seeped into Julian's bones, a constant reminder of his empty wallet and even emptier canvases. He was a struggling artist, adrift in a sea of forgotten dreams until a peculiar antique shop drew him in. Tucked away in a dusty corner beneath a pile of moth-eaten shawls was a single blank canvas. It was old, the fabric yellowed with age, but it seemed to pulse with a silent energy, a low hum that resonated deep within him. It was a call he couldn't ignore. Back in his sparse, dimly lit room, he felt an overwhelming urge to paint. He set up the canvas and, with strokes born of a strange, borrowed inspiration, he painted the very room he stood in. The peeling wallpaper, the single window, the deep shadows in the corner. He worked for hours, lost in a creative trance he hadn't felt in years. Stepping back to admire his work, a cold dread washed over him. There, in the painted corner, stood a dark, shadowy figure, its form indistinct yet undeniably present. It was a figure he had not painted, a watcher that had emerged from the depths of the canvas itself. A knot of fear and morbid curiosity tightened in his gut. Was it a trick of the light? A symptom of his exhaustion? He had to know. The next day he decided to test the canvas's strange power. His neighbor's ginger cat, Marmalade, often sunbathed on the fire escape outside his window. With trembling hands, Julian painted the cat, capturing its lazy stretch and vibrant orange fur. He finished the portrait, his heart pounding, and then looked out the window. The fire escape was empty, Marmalade was gone. Panicked, he glanced back at the canvas. The painted cat's eyes, once bright green, had turned into two soulless black voids. Shaken, Julian tried to fight the growing horror with beauty. He painted a lush, vibrant forest, pouring every memory of sunlight and life he could muster onto the cursed fabric. But as the hours passed, the scene began to twist and decay before his eyes. The brilliant green leaves turned a sickly brown, the sturdy trees warped into gnarled, skeletal claws, and the sunlit clearing rotted into a nightmarish, shadowed swamp. Days turned into a blur of sleepless nights and mounting terror. The canvas, now a gallery of vanished life and corrupted beauty, dominated his small room. The shadowy figure in the first painting seemed to have grown larger, more defined, its presence a constant, suffocating weight. Julian knew he was running out of time. He was a prisoner in his own home, haunted by the very art that was once his salvation. In a final desperate act of defiance, he decided to paint himself. He stood before a mirror, his face gaunt and his eyes wide with fear, and began his last self-portrait. He painted not the broken man he saw, but the artist he once was, head held high, a spark of defiance in his eyes. As he applied the final deliberate stroke to his painted lips, the air in his room grew impossibly cold. The shadowy figure from the canvas began to seep out of the real corner of his room, a three-dimensional darkness that consumed the light. Julian watched, paralyzed, as his painted self began to scream silently, its face contorting in agony. Its form wavered, blurring and stretching as it was absorbed, pulled back into the fabric of the cursed canvas. And then, in the deafening silence of the room, Julian simply vanished completely.